Welcome to my channel. Today we will be reading from the depths of the subreddit r/no sleep, and this is the guest who never left. A few years ago, my wife and I decided to rent a secluded beach house for our honeymoon. It was an old Victorian-style house with balconies overlooking the ocean. It was a little expensive, but we were able to get the place to ourselves, which was perfect because we wanted some alone time after the wedding. We found the place through a local real estate agent who was recommended by our hotel concierge. We met her at the house, and she showed us around. She explained that there was no air conditioning and that the only way to keep the house cool was to open all the shutters and doors to catch the ocean breeze. We finally found a set of keys hanging beside the front door. None of the keys worked. Panicked, we tried every window. They were all locked from the outside. My wife and I started screaming for help, but no one could hear us. We tore down the floral wallpaper in the bathroom, hoping to find a hidden door behind it, but there was nothing. Desperate, we smashed the glass panes of a window in the living room. But when we tried to push the window frame apart, it wouldn't budge. It was also locked from the outside. The beach was deserted, and the nearest house was well out of sight. Please leave a like or subscribe, and I will see you next time. We ran to the window and banged on the glass until the car horn started honking. When the people inside the car realized that we were trapped, they quickly drove away. We ran from room to room, desperate to find another way out, but every exit was locked. We were trapped inside. There were 4 or 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and the living room opened up onto a large deck with a plunge pool. Perhaps it would lead to a staircase or a fire escape, but no, it was just a balcony. The railing was old and rusted. When I stepped out onto it, the floorboard creaked ominously. I quickly stepped back inside and locked the balcony door. After breakfast, we walked out onto the deck to take in the view. Then we heard voices, a man's voice and a woman's voice. The man said, "It's been 2 days since anyone has been out here. Do you think they're still in there?" The woman replied, "Of course they are. Why would they leave? They're our guests." All of the shutters and doors were locked tight, so we couldn't understand where the noise could have come from. Looking out over the beach in front of the house, we noticed that there were no footprints in the sand, not even from the waves. My wife and I collapsed on the living room floor, defeated. Just then, we heard the sound of footsteps on the deck outside. My wife and I looked at each other in terror. What had been our only escape now appeared to be guarded. It was as if the beach had been vacuumed clean overnight. My wife and I looked at each other again, this time in alarm. Neither of us wanted to be in that house alone. We started to make plans to leave early, but we couldn't find the front door. The whole place was very, very creaky. The real estate agent warned us about that, saying that it was over 100 years old, and that the previous owners had been in the process of renovating it when they passed away. After the real estate agent left, we began to settle in. We unpacked, made ourselves some lunch, and then headed to the beach to check out the water. My wife and I looked at each other, somewhat amused. We figured that it was probably just the house settling or perhaps some wildlife. We went back to sleep without a second thought. When we returned, it was late afternoon and the sky was overcast. We decided to order some takeout and watch a movie on the provided DVD player. Around midnight, we were awoken in our bedroom to what sounded like heavy footsteps above us. In the morning, we got up early and made some breakfast. While watching the sunrise over the ocean, we searched all around the house, but every entrance was locked from the outside. My wife and I found a bedroom with a balcony door that was unlocked. We spent the next several hours searching the house for another way out. Finally, after what felt like hours, we heard the sound of a car on the beach road. Eventually, the sun began to set, and the temperature in the house rose into the 90s. We heard the sound of the plunge pool being filled with water. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story from r/no sleep. If you did, welcome to my channel. Today we will be telling you the scariest urban legends. Our first story is called The Mirror at Low Tide. This happened back in 2016. A group of friends decided to rent out an oceanfront house for a week. It was located in a small town that was about an hour away from where they lived. We walked out onto the porch and stared into the darkness. And if you want to hear more scary stories, just search for more videos like this one. Suddenly, he felt a cold presence behind him. He turned around slowly and saw a reflection in the window. He thought it was odd because there was no light on inside. Even if there was, how could he see his own reflection at this angle? He walked over and peered into the darkness. Whatever was out there was watching him, was standing right behind him, breathing heavily. And whatever it was huge. Its eyes glowed an eerie blue in the darkness. He screamed and ran back inside. Everyone stayed up the rest of the night, too afraid to go to sleep. In the morning, when the sun came up again, they all went outside to check the damage. That's when they saw what the creature had been hiding. It had taken the mirror and smashed it into pieces. Somehow, it had managed to spell out the word "Dan T break me" with the shards. They do not know if they should be glad they listened or scared about what would have happened if they had unt. The plan was to relax and enjoy some downtime away from school and work. On the first day, they went swimming in the ocean, made bonfires, roasted marshmallows, and watched movies on the porch. Everything was going well until around midnight when a huge storm rolled in. They had no choice but to stay inside and ride it out. The power went out, so they huddled together on the couch and talked by flashlight until morning. When the sun came up, they all went outside to check the damage. The wind had brought down several trees, and the waves were unusually high. As the water receded, it left behind an enormous amount of debris. One of the guys noticed something strange in the distance. He walked over and realized it was a full-length mirror. It must have come from one of the beach houses further down the shore. That's because during low tide, the ocean would be so far away that people would set up shop right at the water's edge. But once the tide started coming back in, they would have to run. The mirror was completely covered in sand, so he helped the others dig it out. They wiped it off, expecting to see a couple of small pebbles embedded in the glass. What they found instead were hundreds of tiny, perfectly round balls. They were so tightly packed that it looked like a second layer of glass. The girls screamed and ran away while the guys tried to figure out what it was. They eventually concluded that it was some sort of extremely dense concrete. Maybe the city had dumped something in the ocean and it washed ashore. Either way, they wanted to get rid of it. So they took it back down to the beach and threw it in the water. Later that night, after the coast was clear, one of the guys got a bit tipsy and went exploring. Do you believe in ghosts? Let me know in the comments below. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at a beach cottage that's been abandoned for decades. The home is located in the Outer Banks of North Carolina and was actually built over a shipwreck. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos. She found a rocking chair on the porch with a mysterious message written on it. But that's just speculation. I couldn't find any news stories or anything else online that could help explain what this message means. It read, "No person inside." It's really odd because the day before she wrote this was high tide, but there's also a newer sign that says, "Keep out." This makes me think that whoever owns the house probably still lives somewhere nearby and would get upset if someone were to trespass onto their property. And the water line was right up against the wall. Then she left and came back the next day, and there was a sign telling her to keep out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. In the description, she did mention that she received permission to film inside, but that's about it. I'm guessing that this video served as a bit of a warning to others who may want to explore the area. Either the owner saw her video and put up the sign, or she just happened to check the cameras and see her trespassing, and then decided to post the sign. Why does the "no person inside" message only last a few hours? Is there someone living inside the walls? I'd love to know what you guys think about this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. In the next morning after she wrote this, the tide was out and the water line was far down from the wall. And with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. A YouTuber named Julia Rose, who has since made her account private, decided to visit the abandoned cottage for a solo vlog. She said that she got permission from the owner to go inside and explore, but she never got a response back when she asked if she could film inside. So she grabbed a small brush and started dusting it off. At first, it appeared as though the sand was coming from outside and had blown in through some gaps in the windows and doors. Yeah. But then something strange happened. As she continued to brush away the sand, it didn't stop coming out. She even said that it seemed to be coming from inside the walls. You can see grains of sand just pouring out from where it shouldn't have come from. The home appeared to be empty, so she just let herself in and started exploring. As she walked through the front door, she noticed that the entire place was covered in sand. She continued filming inside the house and even went upstairs. Some people in the comments suggested that the house may have been used. as a lookout for drug smugglers or maybe a lookout for pirates. The whole time that she was walking around inside the house, she didn't hear or see any wildlife. There were no birds, no bugs, no squirrels, nothing. She did notice, however, that the windows were nailed shut from the inside, so perhaps there was a reason that nobody wanted to come inside. Later in the video, she shows that there are some newer pieces of mail in the mailbox outside. It's interesting that she was able to get inside without being seen. I'm not entirely sure why she decided to post this video because she didn't really talk about it. This video brings up a lot of questions. For example, why is the sand coming out of the walls? But with that said, that's all that I have for you today.